All right. All right. All right. There we go. It's good, y'all. How we doing? How we doing? Give it a few moments. See who wants to pop on. What's up, Syed? How we doing? Number dash MFPS. I know you. I think you were on last time. I appreciate it, sir. We'll keep it going. We're gonna keep these things rolling. I enjoy them. Gonna keep trying to do them on Tuesdays. Ali, what's up? All right. If anyone's got some ad questions, drop it. We are just fixing up a Stripe issue, which is why it's good to diversify payment processors. Yeah, it was for a bit. Yeah. Nice. And we got some ad questions. Drop it. If not, I'll be talking a little bit about what we've been seeing as of late the past few days on some accounts. Primarily since last Wednesday, Thursday, CPMs have been pretty nuts. Usually I don't look at CPMs, but over the past few days, if you're seeing that on your accounts, you're not alone. So that's been happening. Tuesdays around this time, yeah. Usually I'm gonna keep them at 3 Eastern. So you could just plan on that from here on out. This week I was shooting ads with a client, so we got some good stuff in. Question for you: I had a ad set with a winning ad, okay, and got a 2.2x ROAS. Problem is CPMs were insane. 3 minutes, so I killed the ad set. Okay, so here's a key thing. Right, I know I just mentioned the CPMs really high, right? You were at a 2.2x ROAS. I could care less in that scenario. Even some accounts, like I just mentioned, right? We have a high CPMs. Okay, like this week, some accounts are still ripping. It's just an observation I have. If ROAS is good, I don't give a shit. All right, so I don't care about that. You should not have turned that off. Basically, you should just as long as 2.2x ROAS is good for you. If you're selling an agency service, that could be solid because guess what? You could sign people profitably, basically, and roll them into retainers on the back end. So you make a lot of your money on the LTV and the back end extension there. So, yeah. You should not turn that off. Do not. So it's ROAS over everything. If ROAS is good, then I just let it spend and I scale it as long as I have good calendar availability and the front end costs are fine, right? Yeah, relaunch it exactly. And then so basically ROAS is king, right? Then under that, if ROAS is not good, then I start to drill into the main overarching statistics. So I look at cost per call. I look at application rate, cost per call, show rate, close rate, average cash collected. Then if those aren't good, I'll start to drill in. Say, for example, my cost per call is high. Then I'll look at what makes up cost per call. So application rate, book call rate. Then I'll start to maybe drill into CPMs a little bit. Click through rate. I'll see basically are my ads the issue? Is it something with the funnel and the page conversion that's the issue? But yeah, if you're making money, don't even dude, don't do that. Yeah, relaunch them. Sayed, let's see. God, head into work in a second. One question: do you have any experience with sales offers with ads? How do you structure them for cold traffic? Yeah, so give me a little bit more context on what is defined by a sales offer. Is it sales training or what do you mean exactly? Or sales placement? We've done both. Done for you sales agency, stuff like that too. Lives are a great version of long form. They indeed are. But Connor, for the challenge, they do not count. They do not count. This is not part of one of my long forms. let me check our content scoreboard here. Let me see what we have. Content competition. Let's see who's on here, Connor. So I hit my short forms today. Got some people slacking. Here. I know, right? So yeah, basically, Syed, you might have dipped. But sales offers with ads, I mean, it's pretty much just like marketing any other offer, right? If it's you just pitch the value benefit. If it's a done for you sales agency, talk about the benefits of that. If it's sales training, talk about benefits of that. Decide if you're speaking to like more of a biz op type crowd and helping people get into high ticket sales, or on the other side of things, like you're helping people just get better at sales, for example. But totally depends. But it can work. Yeah, you're totally good. Quick question on cost per result goal. Do you use this? And if so, under what circumstance? Yeah. So definitely. Right now on like lead forms, for example, I've been using cost per result goals a lot more. So like quote unquote cost caps. Those can be used interchangeably. But most of the time, if we're in a really high inflationary period, so if we're around like maybe a holiday period, Black Friday, election cycle, Christmas, something like that, I'll tack on those just to like control my costs on the front end. And then also if I start to see some weird activity in an ad account, I'll also layer those on. So like right now on a couple of our raising capital clients accounts that we're using lead forms on, I don't know what's been going on with lead forms lately, but they've been crazy. If you're using auto bidding on it right now, so no cost per result goal, no cost cap, you can see some pretty rough numbers there, and some crazy fluctuations. So then I'll toss that on. Most of the time, though, I've been trying lately to add them on, just as like a test, and I'll release them if I do need to, if I'm not getting spend off. Syed, everything pre-call setup, closer placement, training, position as double top line, 6 days in pay. Got it. Yeah, no, you'd be fine. Yeah, there'd be no issues with that. Yeah, you'd be totally cool with that. So it sounds like they take a lot of the intensity off the client. So everything pre-call, setup, closer placement, training. Yeah. I would say this, the only thing to really keep in mind for that is with that type of offer, like a lot of the guys that do the whole, 30 calls in 30 days, and they're just like staffing you with a setter type thing. A lot of people show up looking for lead gen. So make sure your scripts cannot be interpreted in a way that somebody on cold traffic could think that you're, like providing lead gen services. You want to make that distinction that it's a sales offer, not a lead gen offer. So just keep that in mind. One more thing, I've only ran talking heads. I forgot I could show this on the screen here. I've only ran talking heads. Any other ad formats and ad types you recommend testing? I run Google ad agency for ecom for context. Yeah, dude. So I love the comment pin ads. Those are doing well. Skit ads are doing really well. Direct to camera with visual hooks are doing well. Raw selfie style videos are doing well. Where you just use like the in-app editing. The split screens are really well too, like doing really well. So basically you have the 9:16. So vertical format at the top, you're basically like screen sharing a Miro board or some like client ad account. And then you're at the bottom, just like talking. Those do really well. Green screen does really well. Those are all formats you can test. But the main thing is just go on organic and just start scrolling through reels, and you'll start to see stuff pop up. You're like, oh, I could replicate that format. That's pretty interesting. And that'll help you really spur things. Cause like at the end of the day, you're just advertising on a social media platform. That's quite literally it, right? So if something grabs your attention and or it's over indexing on organic, so like it's actually performing well organically, that's something that you can just replicate in paid. So you can just be like, oh, that's a sick style. I'm just going to take that, slap my script onto it, and let it run. So you can do that. What's your opinion on lead forms versus website leads in terms of quality, assuming the survey questions are the same? So both can be solid. It depends on how good your conditional logic is. For home services, I like using in-app lead forms. So I use those primarily. I usually don't do a opt-in page for the most part. Most of the time, lead forms. Lead forms will get you some better costs. Just make sure you have good creatives in the front end that are not lazy, and you have conditional logic on there. If you don't have those two things, you're going to get a lot of trash through lead forms for sure. Especially if you also don't forget to toggle off the like audience network placement. I've noticed that. Um, some guys I'll be auditing their account, and specifically it's this combination. It's lead forms with no conditional logic, and they have the audience network placement on. They get rammed with spam, like just rammed with spam. And they're like, what is going on? Most of the time their ads suck too, but keep that in mind. So I personally like lead forms over sending them to a lander. But again, it's also a split test that you can do. Both could work. It just depends on what you want to launch with. I usually bias in that scenario though. Anything like more affluent B2C or home service, I'll go with that. I'll go with lead forms. And that's the question right there. I forgot I could pin the questions on here. Let's see. Anyone else got some other questions for today? 3 p.m. Eastern. Well, I'll be doing this consistently too, by the way, on Tuesdays. So you guys will see if you're on our email list, you'll be getting some notifications. Same stance in a pay per lead model. So that totally depends. If it's a pay per lead model, it depends on the criteria that you're pitching for the offer. So for example, some like pay per lead offers that we've consulted with and like worked on, to actually sell their leads on the like other side, the actual clients, they need to go through like 6 or 7 different verification steps. So they have a longer form. So in that case, that's where I would just do an application funnel. But it depends, because like the less questions, obviously the more leads you'll get, but sometimes the less quality and intent. And then the more questions you have, the less quality you'll get, or sorry, less quantity you'll get, higher quality and higher intent. So it all totally depends on the model itself and like what you're actually selling. Like we have some guys that are just selling cheap leads and they're like, dude, I'm just going to like fire out so much, like a low cost per lead. Like we'll sell these leads for $30, stuff like that. Then on the other side of things, we have guys that are selling leads for $75 to $150, and their angle that they're basically like leaning on is these are good verified cross-checked leads that have gone through like a 7 to 10 step application. What are you finding the best performing ads this year? So say this, couple things. Mainly the ones that have a really good offer that reaches a large total addressable market. Those are the main things. So it's more on the offer versus the actual ad and the creative itself. Now, whenever we really focus on the hook specifically, like intentionally script out the hook and try to make that catchy, then they've also done much better. But it's mainly been the offer lately. That's been the one that's like getting our best performing accounts are just good offers, to be honest. And talking heads, I don't think they're dying. I think most people just make them in a very horrible way. Like they're very lazy. And they use like just direct to camera. Like the environment looks kind of bad. It looks very cheap. And then they use some crazy overlays and some insane like hyper editing that doesn't look native to the platform at all. So that's where you run into problems. Anyone else got some other questions today? Quick one for today. Tuesday at 3 o'clock, though. Tuesdays at 3 o'clock. If you guys are using Stripe, by the way, too, just make sure, because there's been a lot of issues on Stripe the past few days. We're like dealing with it right now. My CEO is going crazy on it. Just make sure that you're not getting like any fraudulent charges that are being attempted on your account. Just like check your Stripe account. Try to look for that, because we've had a couple guys that we know too that have been dealing with this. You don't want your account to get locked, basically. Workflow and tools for creating ads, MailerLine, Higgsfield for videos and hooks. So all of ours are purely manually written, purely manually written. So us, we take into account sales calls, client feedback forms, mainly like the sales call transcripts, and then from there too, like we just script them out. So we don't really use AI too much. Yeah, especially like AI videos and like stock footage. It just doesn't perform well for us that much. But cool. I'm gonna pop off a little earlier today, but 3 p.m. Tuesday, guys. We'll get after it. So I'll be going at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays for about an hour on those. So bring some questions, and we'll dive into some ad accounts, some scripts. But appreciate y'all. I'll probably do a little pop-up one on Thursday too. Why not? But appreciate you guys. Talk soon.